Hello, my name is Arizona. I am the owner, founder of Self Defense Project. I'll just do a super short introduction. I am a domestic abuse support worker for LGBT survivors, non-binary survivors, male survivors, and I made up a wee scenario, kind of interactive sort of scenario kind of thing, to raise awareness of the issues that I see my service users facing. So often I hear the same sentence said over and over again. I didn't realize it was abuse until way after the fact. There were so many red flags along the way. I'm sure so many people can relate to that. Look at the scenario. If you are getting red flag signals, if you are having your gut instinct going off when you're going through this, then I want you to take some validation away from this, okay? So this is an experience of empowerment. This is you being able to see, here are red flags. I know what red flags look like. I am not just overreacting. And the amazing thing about this scenario is that I was very privileged to have a guest panel join me on this scenario and offer their experience as, various people with all kinds of experience. So we had some really, really rich discussion in this, and I know for sure that you are going to take a lot away from this. So yeah, I don't think I've got anything else to say. I think I will just hit play on that. So enjoy the scenario. I hope it's validating for you. I hope that you learn something. I hope you enjoy it. Okay, take care. Bye. Okay. You meet Andre at the gym. What a specimen. He's tanned, muscly, and he's not afraid to look you dead in the eye. It's almost a little bit uncomfortable, but it's exciting too. He approaches you in between sets.
Sorry, what?
Ah, you don't speak Polish. I thought maybe you were Polish. Where are you from?
Oh, sorry. Just around here. What, do I look Polish?
You look like a Polish guy, yeah? You look good. You have a nice ass.
Ooh, thank you.
So what, you have boyfriend or not?
No, I don't.
So you want to go out with me?
Red flag. Okay, so the first red flag, I wonder if he's thinking about the first red flag. First red flag is not going to be the nice ass comment, because we're in a culture now where some words and sentences are a lot desensitized. You know what I mean? Yeah. We're living in a world where the F word is used so commonly now that it's a desensitized swear word. So it's not the nice ass. The first red flag is like, what do so do you want to go out with me? It's a straight in. It's not that kind of talk is basically what grinder talk is, if that makes sense.
Okay, yeah.
No, I mean that is that grinder talk in real life. So that would be the first red flag. That this isn't so much confidence; it's more control.
Wow, you're switched on to this. Good job.
Yeah, I would also add to that the point: do you have a boyfriend or not? They're automatically assuming that this person is gay.
Yeah.
They're just seeing him in the gym, right? Trust me, they're not all gay in the gym. So, I would raise that as well, as a very forward person. And following on from what Grant just said there, this is a very forward person that is not confidence, that's controlling.
Sorry, I think you guys make really good points with he's too confident, maybe a bit controlling, but even if I'm not a gay guy, but if someone randomly came to me and said, you have a nice ass, totally unprompted and totally unwelcome, I will be looking out for red flags immediately.
Absolutely, I agree with that as well, because if this person done that to a female, there would be so many red flags raised right now. But because it's to another guy, it's deemed okay. It's not. Absolutely not. That's what
maybe even if it's watered down and it's a common comment, it's still very unwelcome in that situation because you don't even know him.
And the point is, these are red flags. It doesn't necessarily mean that a person's a perpetrator or abuser or manipulator or anything. It's just that's a thing that I'm recognizing might be a bit off, so I'm just going to keep it in my mind you know, until like something later comes along, and then I've got that context there, you know. So a red flag doesn't necessarily, like one single red flag or, you know, like a couple, doesn't necessarily always equate to like straight up self-defense, you know, but it's just something we've got in our mind, you know, and that's the point, is we're just like making a note of these things instead of just denying that these are, you know, giving us a little bit of like a little bit of a reaction, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, okay, cool. Thank you guys.
That's right.
Okay, so here we are.
Like, what do you mean, a date or something?
Sure. We have a few drinks, nice chat.
Well, yeah, I'm definitely up for that. When were you thinking?
You have plans already this Saturday?
No, nothing planned.
So Saturday, give me your number now and I call you later.
Red flag.
What's a red flag for you?
Give me your number now and I'll call you later. Again, another controlling sentence.
You're so right. Yep. So right. But people, you know, like people can explain and like make all sorts of justifications and stuff like, I'm not that way, but like the truth comes out in their like unguarded speech, you know. If they're a bit controlling in the way they speak to you, it's not sure, but there's a chance that they are going to be like, you know, more controlling as they kind of get like more embedded in your life. So yeah, cool. I'm happy with that. Okay. Anjay calls you later and you settle the finer details for Saturday. Date night comes around. You meet at a bar in town. It turns out you both have quite a few friends in common, actually. Anjay asks you to keep the date quiet.
Red flag.
Uh-huh.
Why is he wanting to be so discreet?
Okay.
Maybe he's not out.
Yeah, valid point.
And that's not a red flag of potential domestic abuse. That is a red flag of anything that you're about to go into.
Yeah. You are so switched on, Grant. That's fantastic, honestly. I'm really happy to hear that you've got, you know, you're just switched on to that. That's cool. Okay, and I agree, you know, like it's again, it's not about saying this is for sure something bad's gonna happen, but it's just one of those things that just like, okay, noted, you know.
And if we're going to talk safety, you know, you never go on a date with anybody and don't tell somebody where you're going.
Yeah.
So, you know, for him to say keep it a secret, no, that wouldn't be happening.
Yeah.
So, totally.
But realistically, you know, like put yourself, like exactly what Paula was saying, you know, you maybe would make the excuse right there and then that like, oh, maybe they're not out or something, you know. So it's not like it would be a deal breaker at that point, you know. You probably would still be making an excuse.
Yeah, but to be fair, even if it's not out, you will still tell a friend that you have confidence with. Like a friend you know is not going to judge.
Yeah.
So,
or it's not going to tell anybody.
A lot of people speak about Grindr, and a lot of people make the jokes that there could be murderers on Grindr, that you go on a date. Now, I used to make the excuse, but you could go home with a guy from a bar and he could be a murderer. So it's not necessarily just for apps. But when I first started hooking up with people from Grindrs, I had a friend that I would send him the address of the place I was going to. And it was now in my few more years of wisdom, I think that what thing I was doing, you know what I mean? That I was going in dangerous situations and said they're probably not going to be dangerous in Fleeing Air. But in that moment, we live, and DJ's seen it as well on Grindr, of there's profiles out there that say discreet. And I've told many, many young people, don't bother. I don't care. Yeah, but I don't show my face or I don't tell people. No, that could mean a multitude of things. Again, not necessarily with domestic abuse or any abuse, but it's just a red flag of we should be going into situations that are a lot more respectful.
Thank you so much for saying that and sharing that. Like, I know that people who are watching this are going to get so much out of that. Like, thank you for that. And you're right, this isn't just about domestic abuse, you know, like this could evolve into anything, you know, like I know that I've told you guys a little bit about like, you know, my work and stuff, but you know, this could go anywhere. It's not just limited to domestic abuse. It could be physical violence, it could be like fraud, it could be murder, you know, you never know. So yeah. Okay, let's continue. You were going to ask why, but he moved on to something else in the conversation and the moment passed. You have a good night together. He asks you back to his afterwards and you say yes. He's so wildly hot, you couldn't say no, even if you wanted to. And the way he looks at
Red
you.
flag.
Okay.
He's so wildly hot, you couldn't say no if you want to. You should always say no, no matter. I don't care if it's Zac Efron or the Elephant Man.
I mean, probably intent is more of a figure of speech, but yeah, I mean, if you can't say no, that's a massive red flag.
No, I get. So I know. I'm really sorry. You're gonna regret me in this, but then I just feel that is a red flag of having respect for yourself, because you're not gonna say no to someone just because he's hot.
He has psycho eyes.
No, I think that would be nitpicking, because I've seen people with an intense eyes because that's just their eyes.
Yeah.
Hey, well, I'm actually going to agree with Ninja here. I specifically put this in because,
Okay.
I mean, again, it's not for sure, you know, it's just one of those things. But, and you're right, absolutely right. Sometimes people just do have intense eyes, you know, but specifically, like one of the people, like related, yeah, a person who inspired this story very much had that like intense eye contact, intense face, like just kind of coming back to the whole like, you know, like quite pushy sort of thing, you know, like they don't almost like respect like the normal like social etiquette of eye contact and stuff, you know.
Very silly example to use, but it's like the if you remember from the movie Twilight, when Bella's friend didn't want her to go with Edward because, and quote, he looks like he wants to eat you.
Yeah.
So that intense eyes in that thing could be a red flag for someone, the way that somebody, his body language is towards someone.
Yeah.
You walk in the door behind Angie and you see another guy sitting on the sofa in front of a few beer cans.
Red flag. Absolutely. If he's not told you somebody else is in the flat, then no way. No.
Thank you for saying that. But, you know, I mean, maybe you guys have got a bit more wisdom than I did when I was younger. You always second guess yourself when you're young, you know, you really don't kind of tend to trust your instincts until you got that life experience behind you that says, oh no, my instincts are valid, you know, like that's not right, that is like an abusive boundary, you should have told me that, you should be more transparent, you know. Okay, we'll go back to Angie.
My employee, he's waiting for accommodation, so he'll stay here until he have a flat.
Oh, that's nice of you. What's his name?
The guy says something you don't understand. Angie says something back to him you don't understand.
Sorry, he's not speaking English very well. His name is Tom.
Tom, nice to meet you.
That was Tom. So yeah, I'll do the Tom bit if you want.
Okay. Yeah.
So yeah, Tom, nice to meet you.
Oh, okay, no problem.
We'll have a few beers here first with Tom.
Okay.
You have a few beers with Tom. Angie translates and Tom practices his basic English. Later, Angie asks if you want to go to bed or go home. You opt to go to bed. When you get through, you're kind of expecting something to happen, but Angie gets ready for sleep. He sees your unspoken desire. Paula, maybe you can say this bit.
Marge, easy. We have time. No rush.
He says. You sleep and wake up the next day to freshly prepared coffee and a perfectly buttered croissant. Angie orders you a taxi and you head home, looking forward to the next meet, arranged for next Saturday. So you were going to say a red flag there, Grant. What was that?
So the red flag was actually, one was a nitpick red flag,
Okay.
but it's we're going to have a few beers with Tom first.
Okay.
I think we said this before. Why, before we enter the flat, did we not get told that Tom was there?
Yeah. Yes.
The nitpick is he's my employee. Again, that's a different thing. To me, that's just my morals, as in I wouldn't have that close relationship with a boss, etc. But that is just me. But it's the first we're going to have. So you are sitting in an uncomfortable situation with someone that is not speaking that well English, and
Mhm.
what's going to happen is you're very quickly going to be the third wheel in that living room. They're going to be talking their own language. You have no idea what they're
Yes.
doing.
Mhm.
And I will be honest, and this isn't slut shaming here.
Mhm.
Why are you going over to his just for a sleepover? That's my question. Because there is, and this is again very nitpicky, there is a slight bit of grooming here. That you're waking up, fresh coffee, buttered
Mhm.
croissants. So what you're doing is he has now put that narrative in your mind that this is a safe place.
Wow. No perpetrator is getting through your wall. That may or may not be what's happening. Okay.
But the only thing is I'm only saying these things from, unfortunately, having perpetrators through my walls in the past and now
Mhm.
Lessons
learn.
learned.
So I
Yeah.
never judge anyone that has been through these situations, because we learn.
Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly. And I'm sure, like, you know, before you went through those situations, you don't have the knowledge that you have now. You know, like, that is unfortunately what we get through experience, and hopefully what we can now, like, share now, you know, like, pass our experience on to other people and have this discussion, you know, where we're all validating each other's gut instinct and saying that these are red flags for us. Because, you know, again, it's just come back to that thing where people just always assume that they're overreacting. No, really, it's overreacting. It's actually them that's in the wrong, you know. And Shay walks in. You wave from the opposite side of the large room. He walks over. You have a chat, but you're on your way out, so it's brief. You head to the changing room door, and then next to your shower door, he's just standing, staring intensely.
Red flag. You don't have a coffee and a drink with them or not. Nobody should be opening that door.
Mm,
You are hungry, you will ignore red flags,
Yeah.
absolutely,
particularly if you're
absolutely.
attracted to the person. Yeah.
So from the situation with the shower, door opening, there is something very voyeuristic about that. And again, I'm going to use a different movie reference, but it's very funny. There's something that we're laughing about, the whole 50 Shades of Grey and stuff like that. It is that emotional, mental controlling. So in that moment, he is the possession of. I'm trying to say his name properly. What's his name? Adrad. Yeah. That this guy is the possession of him, and he can open the shower door whenever he likes, and he can look upon what is him. And the second that kicks in is the fact that he does not text, he doesn't reply. He replies to him when he wants to.
Yes. Anybody got anything else to say about that?
Yes, so besides that he doesn't give any explanation, also Mark is prohibited from speaking about the dates with friends or whatever. But Andre is, well, on Andre's side, his employee and his friend at the restaurant, they both know about the dates. So there's a bit of inequality in there.
Yes, that's a good point, actually. That's a really good point, Paula. I didn't really think about that when I was writing that. That's a good point, yeah. Yes, and the thing about you don't hear anything until the Saturday afternoon. Okay, is there anything else that anyone wants?
I would be. I mean, I know Mark isn't at this point, but I would be cautious about anybody giving out anybody's address. I would meet in a mutual place rather than, say, no, I'll meet you at the corner shop. It can be close to his home, so yes, Andrew's going to get an idea of where he lives. He won't have his actual address.
Yep.
Yeah, and what if somebody said to you, like, "Oh, would you not trust me?" What would you say?
I don't know you well enough yet.
So it's saying that to me.
Yeah, I mean, any of you. What if somebody turned around and said, like, "Oh, what, you don't trust me?"
I say I don't trust anybody, but that's me. And if people can't joke about that and, say I don't trust anybody until they prove it, that's a huge red flag.
Yeah.
So that's me being paranoid, super paranoid, and I admit that, that's because I profile people like this, the hot and cold, the only texting, the absolutely everything is under their control, and yeah, so yeah, skepticism.
Not trusting someone is not as easy as it is to say. I've been in a situation where I've said that exact same statement, where we just want to cancel out the world and not trust anyone, and which is very unhealthy. Now, the second red flag that I'm about to go and bring up is, this is my inner Miss Marple kicking in. We've been told that this date is discreet. We're not telling anyone. Yet, so far we've met Tom, his employee, and now we're having a nice meal at his friend's restaurant.
Yeah,
So
exactly what Paula said.
in his social circle. So yeah, so now I'm thinking, what are we happening here? Am I being a possession? Am I being shown off? Or is this his satisfaction, his peers seeing him, how easy it is for him to control another human being?
Interesting. I really loving where you're going with this, guys.
Yeah, no, I mean, I totally agree with all of that. Looking from an outside with previous experience and looking at this story unfold, I'm going, you know, this is trafficking. This is he's eyeing up his goods, you know, so he can sell that. He's showing them off to his friends.
Oh my
exactly
God.
what Ryan just said there. And this is to me, the whole situation so far is a huge red flag for somebody getting trafficked.
Wow. That's all I'm going to say right now, but that's amazing. Like, you know, yeah. Thank you so much, guys, for participating in this scenario. We're getting so much useful discussion here. This is honestly like working out fantastic. Thank you, everyone. I really, really appreciate this. So good. Okay, 8 p.m. Ange arrives in an SBMW. You get in.
Nice car, Android.
Thanks. I love this brand.
I wasn't sure you'd be coming. I didn't hear from you.
Sorry. Sometimes I forget about text. You're looking very good in the shower.
Red flag.
Why?
So first of all, you're looking very good in the shower. So how did he know he was in the shower? Is there a bit of sex? Is there nudes being sex?
So Grant is talking about from when he opened the shower in the gym on Thursday. That's what he's talking about. So yeah, no,
sorry,
I get you red flag.
The discussion. I need to keep the consistency of the story. The second one is I wouldn't red flag the shower. What I would red flag is I forget to text. Sometimes I forget about text.
Okay. Why?
Why? Because that's an excuse many people use.
Yeah, sometimes people legitimately do forget about text.
There is people that are replying, but in this situation, you forget to reply to work emails. You forget to reply to friends. In this situation, this is a romance. This is feeling. This is
new.
Yes, you don't forget in those situations.
No.
Okay.
Yeah. Totally agree with that.
Anyone else? Anything to say about all of that so far? No? Personally, I would say that it was a bit of a red flag that he brought up the shower thing, even though he didn't respond to the text. You know, like, he'll speak about it when he wants to speak about it, not like when you want to speak about it, you know. So that was a wee bit of a red flag for me. But again, we're being super nitpicky. Well, I mean, we're not, because this is like legitimate red flags, you know. So
yeah. Oh yeah, no, totally.
But we're also all aware, you know, because we know this is self-defense thing, we know that it's going to this place, so we do have that in our minds. You know, I do question if we were actually in it, you know, like, would we be so switched on? Probably, because
you're gonna hate me for saying I would though. I'm sorry, and I know you're gonna say yeah, but I would.
No, because I would as well. Now that I have been, I would be this switched on as well.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. This is the point. Now we would, and we've been through situations where that's made us think the way we do now, and you know, double think everything.
Yeah,
we've got to look at this as somebody that, you know, 18, 19-year-old young gay man that is just out, not as confident. He could be very confident, but what I'm saying is, you know, he's not as experienced with bad relationships as what you know, is out there. So we've got to kind of look at it from that point of view as well.
But that's the point of this scenario, is so that somebody who hasn't got that life experience yet can maybe look over this and be like, oh, actually, look at all those people with life experience, like, and I'm getting those red flags as well, but I'm getting validated because they've been there and they've actually, like, seen how it plays out, and again, it doesn't always play out like that, but the red flags are there for when the important decisions come later,
Yeah, the red flags need to control our, our gut instinct.
Yes.
Without them, we get into situations that we've
That
got.
is an absolute excellent point. Our gut will always tell us, right down to walking down the street and seeing someone and we're going, no, don't like what I'm about to walk into. Listen to your gut.
So right, you're so right. But we're so conditioned out of listening to our gut, because it's like, oh, this is how you should perform in this situation. Oh, you should be polite. Oh, you should, like, do this, do that,
We rebel against our gut many times.
Yep.
I've done it many times where I have went to a hookup and my inner Jiminy Cricket is screaming.
Okay.
Why are you doing this? You don't even want to do this.
So why did you do it then?
This is something. Well, I was going to actually save this for a little bit later when we had the discussion of why young LGBT people get into these situations from my experience. So I will save it for why we get into situations. I will get into that. I've written it down on my notes.
No, it's good. Okay, let's continue then. We're here, right? Yeah.
Oh, thanks.
You know where we are going?
No, I don't. You said something about a restaurant.
Red flag.
Yes.
You should know where you're going.
Okay.
Yes.
I mean, like, you did say we're going to a restaurant, so.
But you shouldn't.
What restaurant?
You should.
What restaurant?
Some formal idea.
Okay. Cool. Okay, let's continue.
Yes, my friends. Very good place. I know you're a vegetarians. You will like.
Oh, thanks. Looking forward to it.
You arrive at the restaurant. Anjay speaks to the staff in another language. The owner approaches.
Fabio, this is my friend, Mark. Please treat him very good.
DJ, do you want to be Fabio?
Yeah, Mark, nice to meet you. Welcome to my restaurant. Here you will eat like a king.
Oh, thank you, Fabio. Your restaurant looks lovely. I'm looking forward to seeing it. I'm hungry.
Great. We start preparations now. Please sit here. Menu. Take your time.
Thanks.
Anjay says something in another. Sorry, yeah. Anjay says something in another language. You assume it's thanks. It sounded like thanks. You have a meal and you are truly treated. Meal served on silver platters. The staff walk around you and Anjay like you're royalty. The food is exquisite too. Not a detail is spared, and there's no bill at the end either. Anjay gives Fabio a firm handshake as you're leaving, and they exchange a few sentences in another language. Anjay asks if you like to go back to his or home. You go back to his.
I would raise a few flags.
Okay. Yeah.
I would raise a few flags. One, why are they being treated like kings?
I can tell you why.
Well, yeah. So let's not go there. The constantly talking in another language. So Mark's not understanding what's being said is a huge red flag for me.
Yes.
I would, if I was with somebody that was talking in a different language to somebody, I would ask for them, what is it you're saying? Can you translate that for me? And you could do it nicely. It's like, I want to learn your language. I want to know what you're saying. Key words. So yeah, definitely. That's my two that I would like to raise.
Yeah.
Well, DJ, you said you just joked there and said let's not go there. I think we should go there because that's what this discussion's about. This just all sounds like potential sexual favors here. That I've given you this. Very, very brief story here. DJ, I'll tell you the full one next time. Guy took me dinner down at Silver Darling, down at the beach, which used to be a 5-star restaurant.
Yep.
Everything, not a lick of money was spent, and afterwards it was expected. Now that is it. Now the funny thing is it's a bit of a double-edged sword here, because he generally could date really well. The guy could date really well. And do you know what really angers me? If this was a Nancy Meyers rom-com and she was a female and he was taking her out on a date, we wouldn't have a single qualm about it.
Yeah.
We would say, oh, wow, he wined and dined her and surprised her at this amazing restaurant. We wouldn't have a single thing to say about it. But this is, unfortunately, a real thing that's happening right now. So, and again, there is an element of that we have our red flag radars on at this present moment. So I'll let you carry on.
So
you're
just before you do,
sorry,
just before you do, when I jokingly said, let's not go there, and that's because I think we can all see how this story can potentially play out, and I don't want to manipulate somebody watching this or you know, into that. Because like you've just said there, this could actually be absolutely innocent. This guy could just be an amazing dater that, you know, has really good connections with people. And they treat him like a king. You know, but like you said, we've got our red flags up. We are prepared for this. We know what the situation we're looking at. But I don't want to manipulate that, which is why I said, let's not go there. So it wasn't, I'm not, you know, I wasn't trying to joke it away, is what I'm saying. So.
No.
I know that. I know that's what I'm thinking of the viewers as well. I'm not trying to joke it away. I don't want to manipulate somebody's mind in watching this into every situation is going to be a bad, because it absolutely isn't. This guy could just be an amazing dater.
Yeah. These are literally, the whole point is they are red flags, you know, they are not sure signs that something bad is going to happen. You know, I mean, it's starting to look pretty bad, to be honest. But the point is, this is about, like, you know, when it's like really in your face and you're like, okay, this is a situation. And instead of all those red flags just being like, you know, forgotten about, minimized, you know, you just said to yourself, oh, they weren't red flags, you know, so then you're in that situation thinking, oh, there's no, like, you know, red flag context here. This is just a situation in isolation. So you maybe like don't react as the same way as you would if you had all those red flags in your mind from before and, you know, you've got that context there, you know? Okay, so when you get back to Ange's, you walk in, and this time there are 3 guys sitting in his living room.
Red flag. I'm not even going to explain why. Red flag, just too many people.
One thing that I just want to say though is it's not uncommon for. I mean, it's a bit of a paradox, because Ange seems to have like lots of money and stuff, and he's obviously some kind of employer or something. But it's not uncommon for like people who are emigrating over to the UK, trying to like build a life, like multiple people staying in one place, you know, like, you know, migrant workers and stuff. You know, it's not like, I mean, it's the red flag is that he hasn't been transparent about it. But the sheer fact that they are there is not necessarily a red flag, you know.
No, my red flag is based on the fact that he's not been, well, as far as we know, he hasn't been told that they're going to be there. And given the choice of, you know, when he said, like, ask if you would like to go back to his or home, you know, has he at that point said, you come back to mine, but there's 4 guys there currently, you know, or there could possibly be. Or, you know, Tom's there, he might have a few friends around. We don't know. You know, have that conversation. But obviously, you know, this is the scenario. We don't know all the ins and outs. He could have said that, absolutely. If so, that's not a red flag. But if he hasn't, and you walk into Ange's, and it's, you know, you've got 3 guys there that you don't know, you didn't know that was going to be there, that's your red flag bit.
Yeah, definitely. A person who...
Also, one other thing, they are his employers, and he's doing a favor by providing a home and food. So we don't know if he's holding it over their heads, because they are all talking in Polish. So you don't know if it's if he has a good relationship with his employers, or he's being abusive in some way towards them. And there's no way of knowing.
Definitely. Okay.
Cool.
Angie?
More employees, many guys coming from my hometown to work here. I'm just helping with a place to stay until they have their own places. I hope it's no problem for you.
No, of course not.
We'll have beer again.
Red flag.
Yep. What? Tell us. Go on.
Alcohol's a red flag because alcohol is used to lower inhibitions, and
Yeah.
it's just a massive red flag.
Yep.
Yeah.
Alcohol's always a red flag.
And DJ, you were saying earlier about, I'll be honest with you, I keep forgetting there is viewers to this. And this is something I want to say. If there is, this isn't just for young people.
Mm-hmm.
If there's a situation, we're going back to that gut again.
Yep.
If it's a situation you don't want to be part of, just say no. And I know I sound like Nancy Reagan there, but I'm being deadly serious. Just say no. If you do not feel comfortable, go away and leave. End of story. Because I know for a fact that I would not feel comfortable in this situation. I don't even feel comfortable if someone has one flatmate, because it just doesn't feel right for me. So this situation, if you are someone that does not feel comfortable, just say no thank you and walk away.
And people might think that it's not cool to say no, but the point is actually, you know, as you maybe get a bit older, like you just like, you know, feel more sure of yourself. What is actually cool in another person is a person who can stand up for their boundaries, you know, a person who's not just like going to go with whatever, you know.
Yeah, and also you don't want to be with someone who doesn't care if you're comfortable or not.
Yeah,
Correct.
exactly.
And
but old me would have said, but he's so hot. You know?
absolutely. I mean, a lot of it, and no matter what age we are, we would say that. And just to go from what Grant said there, you know, this we talk often through this about young people seeing this and not experiencing. Older people, you know, older generation, you know, somebody that might have been in one relationship for the last 40 years, not used to the dating scene, or you know, dated a few people but never had a bad experience in order to raise red flag, could be viewing this and going, do you know what? Oh, actually, that might have been a situation that could have gone south for me. I will look out for that in the future.
Yep. Preach. Okay. These guys seem to know a bit more English, so you all start chatting away. One of the guys is very friendly and easy to talk to, so you and he develop a bit of rapport, and sometimes it's only you two talking. Angie seems to have gone a bit quiet, increasingly so as time passes. You try to bring him into the conversation, but he doesn't engage much. It gets worse, to the point at which Angie seems pretty annoyed, but he doesn't say anything and nobody else seems to be taking notice. You start to think maybe you're showing his friends too much attention, especially after being treated to that incredible meal. You try to disengage from the friendly guy a bit and let the conversation continue without you. Angie seems a bit better after that. Later, you head to bed. Naughty things happen. Angie is quite a dominant guy. Next day, you wake up to a beautiful rose, coffee, and a croissant. Wow. Angie drives you home. Has your hand broken?
Oh, no, yeah, the cocks are turning. No, go and finish the paragraph.
Okay, right, I'll finish my sentence and then we'll speak. Okay, so Angie drives you home and then to work. You're working overtime this weekend, and he's acting very sweet, coy, a side you've never seen. You thank him and agree to meet again next Friday. Okay, let me have it, guys. What do you think?
Oh, God.
Your time has come.
So we're going to go through that scenario very, very quickly. So first of all, you are there with Andres. You have now been then separated from your date. This date is now turned into a social situation. We've seen it, again, I'm using movies, and many, many times when we've seen a movie where the date ends up at a friend's party. I'm going to stop by at my friend's party. Then things always go wrong from there because then there's a detachment. Okay. Now, you try and bring them into the conversation, it gets worse. We've all been there. When we think someone is PO'd at us, we try and speak a little bit more friendly at them. Maybe just, not get them annoyed. Why is someone annoyed on a date in the first place? No one should be annoyed this early in the game. There should not be any tension, okay? Now, moving forward, he doesn't say anything. Nobody else seems to be taking notice. You start to think maybe you're showing the friend too much attention. Okay, why on earth do you bring someone into a social situation like a circle in the flat, and for you not to be the center of attention in there? Okay, especially after being treated to an incredible meal. I don't give a crap if you just wined and dined me at the Ritz. If you are not treating me right at this present moment, that is not good. And again, we're not talking about domestic here, talking about dating in general. I do not care if you paid for everything and you were at the flipping Ritz-Carlton. You do not let anyone treat you just because they did X, Y, Z.
Yeah, absolutely. Like a gift is for the sake of giving. A gift is not for
100%.
payback or, for being owed something.
Try and disengage from the friendly to have a bit of conversation, continue without you. Andres seems a bit better now. So now he's okay. So now we're having mood swings already. I don't even think we've known this guy for, a week and a half? Have we not even known him for a week again? We're already having tension. The naughty things happen. I'm not really going to go. But what I will say is Andres seems a bit of a dominant person. Now, if we're about to go there, talk about the whole... This is actually something I actually spoke about with one of the doctors at the clinic. There seems to be a shift in culture, that Deal know this as well, where it just seems there's a very high percentage of people that want this dominant, submissive role, and it's ridiculous because it's almost as if this is the new trend, and it's in my eyes, it just stop. You should just be with each other. But then this whole dominant person, that's okay if that's what you're into. You need that pre-discussion of how that is. But then I'm nitpicking because he seems dominant. I've been in situations where I've been intimate with someone and they just seem to have control in the bedroom. That's a thing. Maybe that's just them. They seem to have a bit of control. So there's nitpicking, but then there's a red flag. And then he's acting very sweet, coy, a side you've never seen. So now we're getting sides of them that we've never seen before. That's okay. You are learning about each other. You are still in the early stage of dating that you're going to learn. And you thank him and agree to meet him again next Friday. So that I would say that's kind of the red flags from there.
Okay. Thank you. Anyone else?
No, just agree with
He
everything
made a
Andrew said,
beautiful exposition.
Ninja, you got anything to say about that?
I agree. It was, it was broken down in full detail. When people treat you really, really nicely, they're hot and cold and, specific and controlling. The other thing is what he said about culture and fads and, this whole dominant submissive thing. That's really spot on. And I don't know if that's just because of films like Twilight and 50 Shades of Grey and things like this. But for me now, a massive red flag is people that are not equal in, intense stares. I don't know if I said this earlier. Intense stares tend to either be intimate or aggressive. And one of the things that kind of gets confused with people these days is intimacy and aggression. It's like that dominant, submissive, some people do want to be submissive, and, for them, that's their kink, and that's fine. That's cool. But for me, a red flag is where things aren't more equal, where there isn't like a submissive party or a dominant party. It's where both parties are working together. Some bullshit like that.
Yeah.
And just to add to that, if the guy is dominant, and so Andrea is dominant, but that doesn't mean that Mark has to be submissive, and in this situation, it looks like he's getting forced into that. You will be the submissive part of this relationship, and that's not right. That's not okay on any level. That balance, like Ninja just said, a balance needs to be there in all relationships, and it needs to be a discussion that you have, whether that's a discussion that you have after a week and a half of knowing him or not. It depends on how fast the situation is developing. So totally.
I would just add quickly that it's not healthy to be struggling for power
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
any sort of relationship, whether it's a friendly relationship or an intimate
Yes.
relationship or a work relationship.
Yes.
Or
Yes. Because sometimes
struggling for power, not good.
yeah, I was just gonna say sometimes we have like romantic relationships in one box and like, okay, that's like the relational parameters there, but like if it's a friend, oh, it doesn't matter if a friend's a bit bossy, it does actually matter.
Yes.
Good point. Thank you for raising that. Okay, Thursday, you get a call from Angie.
Mark, I need your help. Can you come now?
Andres, what's wrong? What's happened?
No time to explain. Please come now. I pick up you. That's a red flag
Yeah, why?
because it's very immediate and he doesn't offer any explanation at all. Like you don't know what's going on and he's demanding that you drop whatever the fuck you're doing.
Yeah.
There is always time to explain. Mum's died, lost my job, house on fire. You can put that in a
2
sentence.
seconds. Yep.
Exactly.
Yeah. The time it's took him to say no time explained, you could have said
Yeah.
literally that house on fire. Somebody's ill. Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, red flag. Agreed.
Okay.
Andres, I'm at work. I don't know if I can leave just like that. I'll need to talk to my boss.
Okay, so you talk to your boss and I see outside your work in 20 minutes. Red flag because he's assuming a positive reaction from the boss.
Yes.
Yep.
He's not taking no for an answer, is he?
Yeah, exactly. And it's like just perpetrators use that whole secrecy, mystery, keep you in the dark, keep you guessing, like keep you on your toes thing, you never know what's like coming or going, and that reflects on how you start to doubt yourself, you're like, am I really right? I don't really know. It was all so confusing, I'm not really like sure of anything right now. Okay. You manage to make up an excuse to your boss, but you're late getting out of the building.
Hurrah, Mac, you're late. I'm already waiting 5 minutes.
Sorry,
Plain
Andres,
red
my
flag.
boy was talking ages.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're doing him a favour at this point, or at least you think you are.
Yeah,
patience.
exactly. And he's turning it
Patience.
back on you like, what? You're late? What?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, Andres, my boss was talking ages. What on earth has happened?
Seatbelt, fast.
Okay, but what happened?
Make tears. That's the sound of tires screeching.
Okay, yeah, red flag. You need to be knowing what's going on right now.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Okay.
Andres?
I tell you soon. Please just be quiet. I must focus.
You arrive
That's
at
weird.
Angie. Sorry.
No, that's weird.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Not a red flag, but it's weird.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
You arrive at Angie's friend's restaurant and the alarms are going off. The front door appears to be broken.
Come on, Mark, quick.
What has happened here? Somebody called the police.
Police. We don't call police. Mark, quick. Come now.
Red flag. Red flag.
What's a red flag?
Well, Mark's going into an unknown situation. Doors broken. There could be anybody inside that building doing absolutely anything, and he's putting himself in danger. And more to the point, Andre's putting Mark in danger by asking him to be there. And always call the police if there's a situation like that. Always.
Okay.
So when this is something I've learned from my father, and it could be from walking to the streets to your home. Always know your exits. Okay.
Yes.
What I'm saying is, I'm not saying for him to go in. I'm actually going to say for him not to go in.
Mm-hmm,
But some would say, Grant, you're living far too cautiously. But I kid you not. I'll always, and I blame my father because my father taught us this as kids. I always know where my nearest exit is, and that doesn't matter like where it goes and stuff like that. And when you're going in a situation, never unless you know what's about to happen. And what I'm going to do is I'm probably going to jump ahead very quickly, and I apologize if I have. That says the same if someone ever attacks you. Someone ever attacks you, never allow them to take you to the second crime scene. The first crime scene is outside the shop. The second crime scene, outside the restaurant. The second crime scene is going to be inside the restaurant. Okay. So that goes for being attacked. The first crime scene is when someone's put a knife to your neck. The second is going to be the dark alley they just pulled you into. So in this moment, we've got two crime scenes here. So in this moment, I don't care what's happening inside, you're not going in.
Okay.
Agreed.
Okay, so we're at this option point here.
I'd wait outside, sorry, for option 3, but I'd be waiting outside.
Okay.
I'd add in an option 4 and call the police.
Correct.
Regardless of whether he said that or not, I understand. That they're not from the UK. Police in different countries notoriously underrated, bad, whatever you want to say. So they might not have a good relationship with their police, but our police, do tend to help people, and therefore I would be calling the police in this situation, regardless of whether he said no or not.
What option do you think that we should do right now, Ninja? Should we go after him? Should we leave?
I would say leave, but it would seem that Mark has been pulled in pretty deep already and feels obligated.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I feel like Angie has done a good job of building up a a lot of almost indirect O's, took him for a nice meal, took him out the fancy car, treating him so good and stuff. I feel like nowadays I would be much more risk averse, but certainly before I could probably see myself going in, to be honest, for the drama, oh, what's inside, well, I want to be a part of this.
What you've just described there is what we call white people problems in horror films. You hear a noise upstairs. Why the hell did you go upstairs? And it's white people in a horror movie. And obviously, for the basis of the story, he's obviously going to go inside. But I'm going to say option 2, leaving is actually a potential worse option. And I'll tell you why. Okay. Because here you're in a situation with someone that you are feeling is slightly controlling. You leaving, do you not think that that's going to escalate things even more? So not only did you not go inside, you left. So that in me, that's a red flag of leaving. Leaving's a bit of a red flag, because what you need to do is you are now part of this situation, whether you like it or not. Yeah. The best thing is, while you're part of this situation, be in a safe place.
That's amazing. Thank you for giving that. Yeah. Option 3, find a safe place. So that's maybe our ideal option. Yeah, you're right. It could cause further escalation to leave. That's quite almost like an abrasive thing to do. Almost it's a real direct I will not be controlled by you thing. So yeah, that's a really good point. But for the purpose of the story, Mark will go inside.
Of course.
Okay, so once inside, you can see the place has been wrecked, but no one is around apart from Fabio. He's quite upset. Angie is very angry. Fabio tells you he left the restaurant locked up last night and everything was fine. Then he got a call on his mobile from the alarm company. He came down and this is what he found. He knows nothing else. Angie searches through the wreckage frantically.
Are you looking for something, Andres? Maybe I can help.
Other foreign angry exclamations. After some time, it seems that Angie can't find what he's looking for. He starts towards the car. You and Fabio follow.
Shouldn't we call the police? Maybe you can get an insurance claim.
Angie grabs you by the jacket, drags you to the car, and throws you inside, then slams the door behind you. He gets inside. Oh, I'm so glad, guys. I would be very worried if you guys were like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
I feel like we're getting to the point now where they're not just red flags, it's straight up danger signs, But yeah, okay, so I'll finish my sentence. So Angie grabs you by the jacket, drags you to the car, and throws you inside, slams the door behind you. He gets on the other side and takes off. He doesn't even look like himself right now. His face is different. You don't know what to say. You're shocked and concerned about angering him further whilst he's in control of the car. He's driving somewhere. You don't know where.
Okay, so your red flags there. Nobody should be manhandling you or whatsoever.
Yep.
Regardless of the situation. And the point there of you don't want to talk because you're concerned about angering him further. You should never be in that situation with anybody. Yes, people get angry, but that anger is not with you. Then you should never feel that you are going to escalate that by saying something. Certainly by showing some concern to somebody.
Yeah.
I'm gonna come back with that and say, let's assume that Andres is a stronger person. He's strong enough to grab you by the jacket and lift you into a car. Okay. Yeah. You are now the victim in this situation. And I would say, this is when I would say work smart instead of work hard. I wouldn't say anything, because if saying something is going to anger him, then this is something that could, once again, turn escalate the situation even more. So now we're in a car. Now, our biggest fears is, where are we going? And second of all, if I do something to anger this guy, I'm in a speeding car right now. So I think the best thing, if you're in this situation, is to work smart. You could struggle all you want, but what are you going to do? Take your belt off and open the car door and fling yourself out? You know what I mean? That's your options right now. So I would say, if you find yourself in a situation like this, where someone is physically stronger than you, I would say it would cooperate until you physically can see a safe exit for yourself.
Yeah, that's, I mean, obviously every self-defense situation is different, but I really would put my name against that as well. Like when you know that situation, when it's like, okay, this is definitely like a dangerous situation.
And goes back to what I said, we are now at crime scene number 1. He flung me in the car and has taken me hostage. You can use that word if you want to use it. And now we are on our way to crime scene number 2. And the whole thing about like complying almost until there's like a safer opportunity to get out, but it's not just like blindly complying, like, oh, I'm just going to do whatever he says now. It's that like, dual awareness of like, okay, I'm going to look like everything's fine right now, but inside my brain, I am looking for a way out. I am setting up ways to get out. I'm looking out for any possible opportunity that there is to like talk my way out of this, like physically escape, like bring someone else in, yeah. Thank you for that contribution there. After 5-ish minutes of of driving, Anjay seems to be calming down a bit. Another 5 minutes and he's calmer still. A few minutes later, he pulls off the road and parks up in a side street. He switches the car off and plunks his head down on the steering wheel. He takes a deep breath. Tentatively, you test the water.
Are you okay, Andre?
Mark, I'm so sorry. Please forgive me. I act crazy back there. Kurva, I'm so sorry, Mark. I didn't mean to grab you like that. It's my life savings. I keep them in Fabio restaurant. Somebody must have found out. Fuck, I have nothing now. Only small money in my bank account. Kurva, what will I do, Mark? Fuck, I'm so sorry I did that to you.
Oh, shit. I'm so sorry. Shit.
Fuck, Mark. Please say you can forgive me. I'm so sorry. Fuck.
Yeah.
So
you go first.
My red flag is, please say that you forgive me. It's validation, and here we go again. It's that verbal control. We cannot move forward in this situation until you say, "I forgive you."
Yeah.
And go on, DJ.
So I'd also raise the money being kept in a restaurant as opposed to a bank account, and question that. Not that I would question Andrea that, but in my head I'd be going, "Well, why is that not in a bank account? Why are you hiding money inside a restaurant?"
I think that's just a red flag in life.
Yeah, oh, totally. But this is not just about this one scenario. This is red flags in life. So,
absolutely. But I mean, there are people out there who live a different kind of lifestyle who maybe aren't always going to put yourself in that situation. I mean, like, this guy is definitely like heading for a self-defense situation. But some people like do live a bit differently from us, and it doesn't always mean that they're going to perpetrate against us, and that's something I would be thinking in my mind back, or that is the sorts of things I've thought in the past, is just making a lot of allowances for other ways of people's living, but then not really let myself also acknowledge that like it could be a red flag. I'm just kind of like, oh, okay, that's just the way they are, but I'd say no, that is something there. Okay, let's go.
It's okay, Andres. It was a stressful situation. It's okay. Just chill out. There'll be a way to fix this.
Okay, Mark, I take you home now. Thank you for help. I'm sorry. Kind of red flag because Mark didn't do anything at all. He was just under control.
Situation. Yeah.
So what specifically is a red flag? What do you mean there?
Like, Andre was just controlling Mark since he made the call until he took him home. And Mark didn't help at all. So he didn't have a purpose in there. He was just being controlled and manhandled, and he was being a victim.
Yeah,
totally. I mean, there was no need to get Mark involved. This guy's only known him for 2 weeks for a start. So what is happening here? Why did he need to be there? Like Paolo just said, he didn't do anything, absolutely nothing. So what was the point? And what is he setting up for the future? Is you were there, and you never called the police, and you were involved, and you were at that crime scene, basically. So this is a future thing to be looking. If someone gets you in that situation where you are part of a crime scene or something that isn't quite right, they can and probably will use that against you in the future. So that is a red flag for me.
So everyone thoughts on the options then. I mean, it feels like quite clear. I'm assuming it's going to be a unanimous decision that we should like not see Angie again.
I'm going to be devil's advocate and put in option 3.
Okay, what's that option 3?
So again, our options so far from the previous situation to this one is very black and white. And we're in a very many shades of grey situation here.
As every self-defense situation is.
We go to the same gym as this guy. What do we think is going to happen if we block him and never get in contact again? Okay? Now, option 3 is going to have to be, has to be a strong, firm conversation. We don't block and run away. And we don't see him. There has to be a strong, firm conversation with him saying, this is how your life is, and there's not a wrong, there's not a right about this. I personally don't, actually, make it even more simpler than that. You're a great guy, but I don't want to date. Pretty simple as that. I mean, how many years have we heard that? Just say no. If you hear no, that's it. And the funny thing is, this is a side. It's not another option, but this is a sidebar into that option. You need to tell somebody about this situation. And when I say that, you need to tell either, you could go police, because there is organizations, there is people out there that you can tell them of the situation without escalating it to an investigation. So you can just let somebody know. But I would strongly say you need a firm conversation to end it. And the sidebar is, you need to tell somebody about what's happened.
Yeah, I like what you said there, like after you kind of retracted it a bit and said it just has to be a simple conversation. There's no need to get into the whole, this is who you are, this is who I am, because that's just like inviting debate about it. You're saying who they are, they might disagree.
What we do as humans, and it's a human condition, it's not bad, because I don't want to shame anyone that does this. But what we do is we apologize for our actions. If we don't want to do something, don't do it. And that should be enough. If that is not enough for someone, then there is a problem there. So we as humans say, listen, I don't want to do this, and I'm really sorry because of this and because of this.
Yes.
You don't want to do it.
Yep.
So just say, I'm really sorry. I can't see the dating here. And if he asks why, because it's not for me. I wish you well. See you around in the gym. I hope there's nothing bad here.
Yeah.
Carry on. And if there is bad, not everyone likes you in this world.
Yeah, I just so want to echo that, like that ending conversation should be a peaceful but firm conversation. You don't want to leave it as like, oh, you're just not my kind of person. I think you're pretty shitty and stuff. That's definitely got the potential for some comeback in the end. And ultimately, we all just want to like live stress-free lives, so why get into that whole thing of this is who you are, this is who I am, these are all these judgments. It's just save yourself the bother. This isn't for me. Thanks a lot. Good luck. See you later.
And if that conversation escalates, if you are in that conversation and he becomes aggressive, if he is saying, if you feel that is when you need to step in and just say, if you do not respect my decision, I will unfortunately have to take this further.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. Anyone got anything else to add to that?
You'd want to be very careful where you have that conversation.
Yes.
Good point.
And what you brought up about having somebody else investigate or have your back, even just a friend that knows where you are, or you can talk to about the person's behavior. And there are groups that will investigate people, or you can have people that are just friends, or people that you said earlier on were people that were in different social circles, so they knew him. These are things you should be investigating out, particularly if they're a potential partner.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, totally agree.
Thank you. Okay, so again, just for the purpose of the story, Mark is going to see Anjay again.
See him again.
Yeah. Poor Mark. But the thing is, Mark,
people in a horror film.
I mean, like, we joke about this, being like, oh, who would do that? But
people do.
No, but I
have done.
About you, Arizona, but my past self would have done it as well. But this is something I'm going to keep till the end.
Yeah. Okay. You change your Friday night date plans in light of the situation. You head over to Anjay's house. When you arrive, two guys, B and D, who were there last time, and the first guy, Tom, are there. So, DJ, do you want to be B for us, and D, just all the extras?
Yeah, Andrea's at the shop, back in 5. You want a beer?
Oh, okay. Yeah, sure. Thanks.
Small talk.
So you guys didn't manage to find a flat yet?
Flat? What are you talking about?
I thought you were staying here because you couldn't find a flat.
No, we're here because we're working for Andre's.
Oh, what kind of work do you do?
B and D look at each other, saying nothing. B says something in another language to Tom and D. A few sentences are exchanged. Nobody answers your question, and there's a bit of an awkward silence. Anjay returns. Okay, so what are we thinking?
Very obvious it's in there, but I'll let someone else speak, sorry.
Okay, somebody else?
Well, he clearly lied about who these people are.
Yeah.
It's a huge red flag. He's not being honest about anything, or potentially anything that he's done so far. But he's certainly not being honest about who these people are in his flats, what kind of work. Then nobody's saying what the work they do. So that would indicate to me illegal behaviour.
Yeah.
Something you don't want to be in. And just to add, to what Ninja said earlier, again, this whole situation revolves around beer, and it shouldn't be. Yeah. Keep your wits about you.
Paula, have you got anything to add to that?
No, just exactly that. That is very weird. He lied, and they are obviously hiding something.
Yeah, especially that whole awkward silence thing. Like, it would strike me as a bit weird that even they feel a bit uncomfortable to like talk about what the real situation is. I would severely be getting some red flags. Massive.
And suddenly changing to Polish because.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, why didn't they? I mean, like maybe they don't have that good English, but still, like it's. Yeah, there's definitely something going on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mark, I'm so glad you're here. Thank you for coming.
No problem, Andres. How are you feeling?
I feel terrible.
You notice Anjay is a bit drunk.
Understandable. Well, maybe we can make you feel better tonight.
I hope.
What was your red flag, Grant?
Drinking. Just that's a light flag.
Yeah.
Light.
Well, you say light. I mean, he's arranged the date and he's drunk before the date even starts.
Uh-huh. But then again, he did just lose all his money. You know, like, I feel like you might make excuses, you know?
Yeah.
But you just answered your own question. The question there, Arizona.
Huh?
He just made an excuse.
Yeah.
If I just lost all my life savings, the last flipping thing I'd be doing was dating. But carry on.
Exactly. You would make the excuse of I can't do this right now. I'm not in the right place. I need to sort my situation out. A Friday night date is not a good idea.
But then
Yeah,
again,
but he's saying he hopes Mark will make him feel better.
Yeah.
That's a bit weird. It's like,
Yeah.
one thing though, like what you're saying about, you know, like if you just lost all your money, you know, not everyone would necessarily immediately go straight to like, okay, let's fix this. I'm going to sort my life out. You know, there might be that whole, like, we're kind of getting the impression that this Anjay guy is a bit of like, you know, maybe a bit of like a guy in the peripherals of society or something. He's obviously like maybe got some shady business going on or whatever. So, you know, like this is one of the things is, you know, when you when you start to make a picture of like who you think a person is, then you might start attaching like more and more behaviors to that and just like assigning that as like, oh, that's just their personality. You know, like, oh, this is just the sort of guy that like would want to get drunk and just like wallow in his sorry, like his misery for a little bit or whatever, you know?
Yeah, I mean, to add to that, you know, obviously this is black and white. We're looking at this on a piece of paper. We can't see characteristics. We can't see what the person's expressions are and how they're actually behaving. You know, to us, this is a very, I mean, certainly we're all in different rooms right now. So this is a very standoffish situation, even as we're reading it.
Yeah.
You know, Mark and Andrew could be all cuddly and, you know, that kind of situation could be going on. And, you know, we're saying it all very factual, black and white. You know, the whole situation could be completely different.
Yeah.
And it could be very cuddly, could be very touchy. And but to add to that, going on the flip of it, the conversation that he's just had with the flatmates needs certainly in Mark's head needs to be addressed, because, you know, Andre's walked back in and he's not even addressed that. Like, look, you lied to me. You know, what's going on?
Yeah.
You know?
But
if someone's lying to you like that,
Mark might be the kind of person who's quite confrontation avoiding, you know, which is a factor that might play into this, you know.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. More drinks, general chatting, everyone seems to be getting a bit merrier. Even Anjay, who is much drunker. Then a knock at the door. A tall, heavy-built, serious-looking man with a scarred face comes in. Bad vibes from this guy. Yeah, I mean, it says bad vibes, so...
Yeah. Your flag's there. Yeah.
He sits down. Anjay introduces you both, but the man doesn't acknowledge the others. They don't seem fazed. They speak amongst themselves in their language. Anjay and the big guy chat a little bit. The big guy gives Anjay an update about his cousin down south. You just kind of politely listen and nod occasionally, drinking more of your drink for something to do. After a while, the conversation dies down and there's a weird tension in the air. After a while, the big guy says something to B, D, and T. You don't quite catch it. Very soon after, B and D start kissing. Tom unbuttons his jeans and takes off his trousers, sitting in just his t-shirt and underwear.
Red flags.
Yeah. Paula, you can go first this time.
That looks like sex slaves.
Yes.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
EJ hit that earlier.
Yeah. Well done, by the way. Your spidey senses were well on there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, yeah. I mean, to be honest, like I mean, we'll still point out the red flags, but like they're very obvious at this point. You know, it's not just like, oh, like a little guts instinct thing. This is like serious, like, you know, not good what's going on.
I am still listening. I just need to go and feed the guinea pig. 2 seconds.
Okay, no problem.
You still here, you know?
So we've got two options here. Fake a call emergency and leave. Stay. Ninja, you go first.
Sorry.
I mean, the obvious option is the obvious option.
Yeah.
I think that, again, what we were saying earlier about being smart about our escape routes.
Yeah.
Because in certain situations, particularly where things have now gotten sexual between strangers,
Yeah.
you know, like this is looking really bad. So
Yeah.
we want to consider the fact that we're outnumbered.
Yeah. Yep.
The person that brought us into this situation is much stronger than us and is controlling. Like we have no control here whatsoever.
Yeah.
And we don't know how they'll react to us suddenly disappearing or
yes.
any excuse that might look like an excuse.
Yeah.
So, you know, we need to be thinking like smart escape plan, and if necessary, dangerous escape plan because it's looking super dangerous.
Yeah. So why don't we have a little bit of a quick chat about what could be a potential other option than faking a call emergency, you know, because that might look a bit like too much like an excuse, as you say. Is there a safer way that we can think of getting out of here?
Well, obviously, I love how you started typing in options already, but Ninja, I'll let you finish what you were saying.
I was just saying, it depends on what the building and house you're in, you know, in terms of escape routes and stuff. An easier one might be, you know, the toilet excuse. Particularly if you've been drinking.
Yeah.
And then see where we can work from there in a bit of privacy.
Yeah, the bathroom, like that's what happened in like my situation is that I made an excuse to go to the bathroom and started trying to think of a way to get out, you know, like that bathroom break. Like sometimes you'll get given a bathroom break, you know, and it just gives you that time to literally like just calm yourself down first of all. You know, like actually just get yourself in a place of clarity, because when you know the situation is that bad, it's pretty hard to think about what to do. You know, if you let your kind of like panic get away with you, you can't think of fuck all, you know. So like go to the bathroom, catch your breath, you know, like settle down for a second, just kind of like breathe it out, you know, just like accept where you are, give yourself a bit of a pep talk, start thinking about what's a plan to get out. Yeah. Anything else? Anyone got some ideas?
Yeah, I mean, I want to just add, you know, there is, you know, option three is getting out basically some way. But you've gone through all this with Mark so far, or Andrea so far, you know, and going back to what I just said, you know, with the black and white scenario situation that we're reading this, you know, Mark could feel confident enough, or at least try to have a conversation and say, I'm not up for this.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, you know, this is not for me. You know, my relationship status is one-on-one. I'm not up for what's going on in the living room right now. Either take me home, I'll leave, or, you know, or something needs to happen. I'm not ready for this. If that can't happen, then yes, certainly everything everyone's just said, you know, exit plans, bathroom escapes, calm yourself down, sort yourself, get your head clear, maybe mobile phone situation. You know, there's so much you can do, and obviously we'll get into that. There's so many ways out of this you can have, but you have to add in that conversation may be possible.
Yeah, and it's a good point to stress that it may be possible, because you might be having, you know, like sometimes you can't explain like how you know something, but you just know that if you try to have that conversation with Andre, he's gonna say no, and then your whole like, you know,
then you're busted.
Element of surprise about trying to get out or whatever is ruined, you know. So you got to be careful about like disclosing that you're trying to leave, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's not just an option 3. There's an option 4, 5, 6.
Yeah, of course.
Options for this situation, but I actually think the smartest one is the conversation. But another smart option for it, I'm going to go back to you, Arizona, when you said go to the bathroom. Take your phone with you to the bathroom, text where you are, because you've been to this place 3-4 times now.
Yes.
You should know where it is. You should know you should be texting someone.
That's why I feel the bathroom is first. Because if nobody knows you're there, and, you know, there's no option for somebody coming to rescue or anything like that. I mean, your dad taught you correctly, like escape routes and, you know, other people knowing where you are. I mean, that's common sort of mountaineering and, you know, going on trips sort of thing.
Yeah.
And that's how you should date.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Just to be conscious of time, we've not got that much longer left to go, to be honest, but we'll just move on now. So let's just assume that, like, you know, he stays. The big guy looks at you. Uncomfortable, you look away and try to catch Anjay's eyes. He avoids.
Okay, red flag. Andre may not be in control of this situation anymore. The big guy is.
Yep. Yeah, definitely.
So that goes back
He's
to
avoiding. You know, like, why would he be avoiding right now? That's clearly
I think we've just figured out that Andres is just a recruiter.
Yeah.
Okay.
Andres, where are the beers? In the kitchen? I'll get another one for me. For myself, I'm empty.
Yes, in the fridge on the bottom.
You go to the kitchen. The fridge isn't immediately obvious. You open a few cupboards accidentally. There's hardly any food in the cupboards, mostly just bottles of alcohol and an awful lot of lube and condoms.
Red flag. Red flag. Nobody lives in this house.
Yep. Definitely.
Yeah.
This is clearly like some kind of brothel or something.
Yeah, absolutely. A safe house, whatever. No, not a safe house. That's the wrong word. But a house to do things in. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So obviously, like, you know, time to get out. What? Any excuse anyone can think of right now? We're just going straight to the bathroom plan again.
There's not that. I'm sorry, I'm reading ahead. The other two options we obviously know are going to be yellow. So I think for the, obviously, like he says, for the basis of the story, I think we need to carry on, because this is a really good training for if you are scared to leave. If you are really scared, we need to go and find out what the end result of this is. Okay. For you to make sure that you're nowhere near. You're back here at the start of the script. You know what I mean? So I'll let you carry on. Sorry.
Okay. You find a beer and walk back to the living room. You sit down. The big guy is touching himself. B, D, and T are kissing and touching more fervently. Okay, obviously we should make an excuse and leave, but we don't. We stay.
Mark.
Yes, Andres?
Take off your clothes.
Shocked, you don't respond.
Take off your clothes. You won't hand me your money. You take off your clothes.
Okay.
Red flag.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, and I'll read the final little part now. So, you reach into your pocket and grab a handful of sand, pocket of fluff and grit that's been building up over the last God knows how long. You throw it in Anjay's eyes. He stumbles backwards and falls over, knocking his head on the edge of the table. Instant KO. The big man runs at you. He pins you down. He starts pulling at your clothes, but B, D, and T revolt. B and D wrestle him to the ground. T appears with what seems to be a frozen banana and knocks the big guy over the head with it several times. Big guy goes unconscious, but T can't stop himself. He keeps hitting big guy until the banana warms enough to splat on the big guy's face in a climactic finish. Tom falls backwards, spent. The police arrive shortly after. The commotion must have alerted a neighbor or something. Anjay and big guy are arrested. Statements are taken, and over the following months, a large network of criminals profiting from modern slavery are put behind bars and forced to make large compensation payments to their employees. You, B, D, and T write the book about your experiences, from which you make a pretty penny. You use some of your earnings to pay for renovation of Fabio's restaurant. He and you become long-term friends, and he starts a community project, inviting homeless people into his restaurant for free every Friday, treating them too like royalty, reminding them and the wider world that everyone deserves to be recognized as the wonderful, unique human beings that they are, irrespective of their economic status. Okay, there we go. So I had to make it turn nice because I don't want to.
So sorry. Like, DJ will back me up. My expressions are always on my face. I do apologize. That took quite a turn in the end.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, you know, one thing I want to say is, I you know, I'm aware that many people who will be doing this self-defense course will have had some previous experience before, and I really, you know, like I want people to grow and learn from this course. I don't want people to just be so massively re-traumatized through going through these scenarios, you know, that they can't, you know, they literally like can't even be present and stuff, you know. So it was important for me to like turn it around at the end and make it something nice. But the point is, it's not like that in reality always. You know, sometimes it can be. You know, sometimes there is an opportunity at the end. You know, it, like goes wonderful and stuff. You know, but sometimes it doesn't. You know. Yeah. But yeah, there we go. That's how it ended in my world. And yeah,
I'm sorry to make light of this. First of all, how much sand was in his car? The hell walks about with that much sand that you can throw that in someone's face? The other aspect. Let's talk about the alternative ending of that. Is that the big guy could have pinned you down.
Yeah.
And you also could have been attacked by.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So.
Yep.
So that is the worst case scenario as well.
Yep.
And so and the other thing as well is, in an ideal world as well, B, T, and D would have also been arrested for being part of that.
I mean, what?
Not really. No.
To be arrested when they're slaves.
Arrested. No. Oh yes. Okay. When I say this, arrested at first. And then we find out if they were victims or they were recruiters, like I keep forgetting his name. Yes.
Yeah.
And the reason is because it ended. I'm sorry to really nitpick at this. I feel like a terrible playwright, Red Penny. But why was Andras arrested as well? You know what I mean? How do we not know he was just as much of a victim as BT and D? That's my only thing.
That's true. That's true.
He was recruiting people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he did assault Mark, you know.
Yeah.
That is literally just nitpicking the situation. But I think now we should just go for time wise. I think we now should be looking more into how to avoid these situations.
Okay. Well, let's quickly before we go into that, Paula, Ninja, have you got anything to say about just kind of like any of that?
Yeah, one thing. You said before going to the bathroom, and I agree that it's very good to calm down and have kind of a private space, but that situation was escalating a lot, and once you're out of there, you don't know what's going on until you come back.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
When you go to the bathroom, there's 5 people outside. At least 2 of them are stronger than you.
Yeah.
All of them speak Polish, and they can coordinate whatever the hell they want without you knowing.
Yep.
And also, there's a safety power. Like at first, Andre was the most dominant person in the room, and maybe you could ask him for help. But then the big guy was the most dominant person. And after that scene, we know that Andre wasn't going to help. So I would have gone for outside help, call a friend, tell him where you are, and maybe even have friends come over to get you out of there, to call the police or whatever.
Yeah, good. I like where you come from this with Paula. You've got you always come at it from a little bit of a different angle. It's nice. It's appreciated. Thank you.
I just want to add to the scenario that's ended there, you know, with basically Mark inciting the violence. I would never encourage anybody to do that. Because, you know, yes, in this scenario, you know, the 3 guys that were all slaves, you know, they revolted and they backed you up. That could have gone horribly wrong.
Yes, you're absolutely right.
You know, yes, defend yourself. If the big guy or Andre had thrown the first punch or, you know, held you down, whatever the situation, yes, defend yourself, but never incite the violence.
Never start, never initiate.
Use your mobile, get out of there. Yeah, that could have gone horribly wrong. I like the ending now. I like what you've done there. It's a sweet ending, but you know, it's not, you know, 99.9% of the time that is not going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, that's the whole thing about self-defense, is everyone thinks self-defense is only physical stuff, but you know, often it's more dangerous to react physically. You know, like the brain really is the primary self-defense weapon, you know. Okay, so do we want to have a discussion then of what you were going to say there, Grant, about
I'll let you navigate where we're going next.
We're just closing up now, you know. So like, any closing comments on this?
So overall, I just think that the scenario we have read tonight is an extreme situation.
Yes.
Okay, just an FYI. Now, but here's the thing: is from this extreme scenario, what we've had, there is a lot of everyday situations that we go through every day, and that's not just for LGBT; it's also for straight people as well.
Yep. So that's it. I'll interrupt you for just one sec. So that's the whole point of this, is that, you know, abuse can happen to anyone, you know, like, and it, you know, the red flags are universal. You know, it's not like it only happens in this situation. You know, like, this could be any situation with any gender, any sexuality, any dynamic. You know, so yeah, continue.
No, and it's fine. And so the beauty of the situation is when we have been saying our red flags, and it started right back with the nice ass comment. I don't want someone watching this thinking, well, if I do this, I'll find myself in sex trafficking. No. What we're talking about is it's the characteristics of people that we should be aware of. And I am
people.
But I just think repetition sometimes in discussions is really good, because we can hear something and then we hear it again said differently, and people go, "Oh my God, I've never heard that before," and we've heard it 2-3 different times. So anyway, the things that I've wrote on my notes during tonight is the first of all is when we were deciding whether we should be going inside the restaurant, when we should be doing this. Let's take this away from a restaurant being broken in to just someone else's drama. And that is something I want to just listen to that sentence. It's someone else's drama. I don't care if you're dating them. I don't care. And then obviously DJ mentioned earlier, we should have phoned the police. That's someone else's drama. We're
Grant. Sorry, your signal's going on.
Okay, let me do that. Say that one more time. Before you go and call the police and stuff, absolutely, you should call the police if something seems wrong, illegal, 100% without a shadow of a doubt. Mark was being treated bad. Mark wasn't doing anything about it. Why? Because maybe Mark's had situations in his past, and he believes that is what he deserves.
Yes.
He deserves someone to treat him like that. He deserves someone to be mysterious. He deserves someone to text him when he wants to text him. I have been in my situation. I have let people treat me like that, because that's generally, there's an element of that. I just thought, well, this is as good as it's going to get for me. And I have been in that situation where I have refused to break up with someone because I said, I'm never going to find someone as hot as him to go out with me. And that goes back into we accept the love we think we deserve. Now, that also goes hand in hand with the being someone's property. We almost sometimes want someone to own us. We want someone to be there for us. And what the thing is, there's something that a lot of people always laugh. If everyone's seen Jerry Maguire with Tom Cruise, I think the line, "You complete me," is the most ridiculous line ever, because you complete yourself. Everyone else is an extension of who you are.
Preach, preach, preach.
I would 100% rather be in a corner with a book and a goldfish than be with someone that I didn't, in my gut, want to be with. And my closing statement of this wee little monologue is that we teach people how to treat us. Mark has taught this guy to treat him like garbage, to text him when he wants to. Think about that in not just relationships, but in your everyday life with friends, with family. We teach people how to treat us. Absolutely. And what happens is, it's so easy for them to not text us, to not reply to us, to do all these things, because we've taught them. We didn't actually mean to. We taught them because, and it goes straight back full circle, that is what we think we deserve.
Yep.
Yeah, really good points there. Really good points. I just want to underline, even if you are a person who, thinks that that's all you're worth and you let another person treat you badly, that still doesn't mean that the abuse is your fault. It still takes a person to perpetrate.
100%.
You could be the sitting duck in the world, but someone's still got to shoot that duck, so it's not your fault that someone perpetrated against you. It's definitely not your fault.
No, not at all. I was like, no. That was not where I was going.
Oh no, I wasn't saying you were saying that. I just wanted to underline that in case anyone watching this had that thought in their mind and made that connection. Like we all agree here that the liability for abuse lies with the perpetrator. No questions asked about that.
Yeah, and it's catching those red flags early, and that I'm gonna let everyone else have their statements.
Okay. DJ, maybe you can say something. You're going soon.
I'm kind of upset that I missed a lot of what Grant was saying there, because I know Grant has a lot of impact. What I did catch was absolutely amazing, and I just echo it. There's what you said there, Arizona. The perpetrator is always the one at fault. It's never the victim's fault. You never. Yes, I agree with Grant. By not pulling Andre up when he didn't reply to his text for 3 days, and basically saying that's okay. That's not okay. You pull it, or you say, look, it's not okay for you to treat me like that. If you want this date to, and this relationship to blossom, you need to put in as much as I am putting in. So any situation like that, it has to be equal footing, so I just echo everything that Grant said, and totally agree. It's always the perpetrator's fault, never the victim's.
Okay, anyone else got anything to add?
Yeah, just one tiny thing about the Russian scene. You've all made a lot of really good points, and in the Russian scene, you said, Arizona, you will go in because of the drama, and I think that's a good point. Even if you don't have previous trauma or previous experience that tells you that's what you deserve, even if you're a healthy person, it's very easy to just string along because of inertia. Mm-hmm. Because usually a friend tells you to go get a drink, you guys go get a drink. A date tells you, let's go around the corner for a walk, you go for a walk. They tell you to go into the Russian, there's no immediate danger. You just go into the Russian. And obviously from our spectator point of view, it's very clear that it's a second location, you don't know what's going on, and it's just a bad idea. Mm-hmm. But if you're there, or if you're the protagonist in a similar kind of situation, it's very easy to just go along instead of taking a step back and deciding to not do that.
Yeah, and something that I want to say just on the back of that is, as some of us have said, we've been in situations where we've ignored the red flags and stuff like that. And, it's about having that forgiveness for yourself. Like we do sometimes get swept up in things, like it's not about saying like, oh God, I hate myself forever. I should have done things differently. It's my fault because I didn't react sooner. We can learn lessons from these experiences. That's valid, but it's not about turning that in on a thing where we're like, oh, we brought it on ourselves because we didn't leave early enough or whatever. Again, just coming back to it, it's their fault for perpetrating, and if that is a situation where you've been in and you've ignored red flags and you're hating yourself for regret, for like ignoring those red flags, the only way that you can be happy in life is if you find a way to accept that that's what happened, find a way to forgive yourself, and then learn the lesson from that. That is a bit where you turn something negative into something that is like very powerful,
100%. 100%.
Just to add to that, it's, as Paolo just said there, we've been through these situations, so we see the red flags.
Yeah.
Somebody that hasn't, never, they're not going to look for the red flags that we're seeing.
Yeah.
So, and not just in relationship, with everything in life, have a friend, have somebody you can confide in, that you talk to about this, and whatever the situation, you go, is this person treating me right? Is this the situation that should have happened? Or, just in general, you're talking to your friend and you go, oh, yesterday Andre did X, Y, and Z, and your friend should be able to go, no, that's not right. It's just that conversation. So don't keep things bottled up, whether it's relationships, whether it's work, friendship, whatever. Don't keep things bottled up. Talk to people just in general, you know. You talk to people,
Fancy a therapist.
learn. That's how you learn. That's how you work with other people. So I didn't hear what you said there, Ninja.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. So I just butted in slightly because I liked what you were saying. It's like also see a therapist. Like everyone should. Like really, really.
I just want to quickly nip in about if someone is currently in a situation where they are a victim of abuse.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot echo this enough. It is definitely 100% not your fault. But what I want to say is we need to find a way where I'm going to turn my video off so this can be heard.
Okay.
Where we cannot blame ourselves. I think we regret ourselves from our mistakes. They're not even mistakes. Lessons come in a whisper, and if we don't hear the whisper, we get spoken to. If we don't hear the spoken, we get yelled at. And it's being able to, again, going back to our gut, it's listening to our gut. When our gut whispers to us, if we didn't hear the whisper, we hear the speaking. If we didn't hear the speaking, we're going to hear the yelling. And if we don't hear the yelling, we're going to hear the screaming. And I've been really wrong in the past by listening to people's stories of being in abusive situations, and I, from my ivory tower, immediately go, "Oh, well, I would have just gotten out of that situation."
Yes, mm-hmm.
Easily said than done. And how dare I turn around and say to someone from my ivory tower, "It's easy to get out of it."
Yeah.
But what I do want to say is, very plain and simple: love doesn't hurt. Love should not hurt. And when I say that, I mean it shouldn't knock you up in the head. And I have ended potential suitors, relationships, dating because, and I was saying this earlier, because we've started bickering and arguing like week 2 in. And I'm like, this should be honeymoon central. I should not be having these with you already. Red flag.
Yeah. Yeah, super agree with that, massively. Yep. And there was just one thing that I want to touch on earlier about like having an outside perspective, a friend. Like a perpetrator tactic is to isolate you so that you lose connection with reality. You just get sucked into their world. You've got no external person to like bounce ideas off and like share the story and like, have another perspective other than what the other person is telling you.
That is, it's not, the thing is, it's not, what shall I say this? It's not sexual abuse. It is sexual manipulation. That is what we're dealing with here. Abuse is the attacking, the words and the physical, but the manipulation to cut you off from friends, from family, to make you think that you are worth less than yourself, to only belong to that person. That is manipulation. Yeah. It's calculating how to own that person.
Okay. I think we'll probably end it there because DJ has to go and we're
I've got work, unfortunately.
But guys, that was a fucking ace scenario. Thank you so much for honestly gold input, and I just know that people are going to get so much out of that. I'm honestly thinking I might actually just like share that like widely rather than having it inside the course, because I think that just everyone needs to hear this, and I don't want to put any barrier to accessing that. Like I don't want people to have to go through like actually getting inside the course to get this information, because I just think this has been so useful. So probably gonna find a way to just like host this readily available for anyone who wants to sit and like listen to us for like 2 hours. But yeah, honestly guys, thank you so much for that, and thank you from all the people who watch it. Like it's a great discussion, honestly, so good.